Back in 2009, BlackBerry was the undisputed king of smartphones. Every CEO, every politician, every businessman walked around with one in their hand. It was the icon, the symbol, power, carried right in your pocket. Then along came Steve Jobs. He didn't just bring a better phone, he brought a show. He brought an event. He stood on that stage and said, "Today, we're reinventing the phone." He wasn't selling a device. He was selling a moment. He was selling the feeling that you were witnessing history being made right in front of your eyes. BlackBerry was present, but it wasn't visible, and that makes all the difference. Law 6 of Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power doesn't tell you to be the best. It tells you something much more honest and much more brutal. It doesn't matter if you're the best, if nobody is looking at you. Let me shatter a massive illusion that most people hold on to. We think the world rewards quality. We think good work speaks for itself. We believe that the hardworking, loyal, honest guy will eventually have his day and be discovered. That's cute. And it's completely wrong. The world doesn't reward quality. The world rewards visibility. It rewards whoever grabs its attention first. In the corporate jungle, in the political arenas, and in markets flooded with identical products, the winner isn't the one who built the best product. The winner is the one who generated the most buzz, PT. Barnum knew this a full century before modern marketing was even born. Back in the 19th century, he was an attention seeker with the precision of a surgeon. He bought an elderly woman named Joyce Heth, claimed she was 161 years old, and said she had been George Washington's very own nursemaid. People showed up by the thousands. Then, when the numbers started to drop, he didn't offer a discount on tickets. He didn't improve the show. He wrote an anonymous letter to the newspapers saying, "Joyce Heth isn't human. She's a machine made of ivory, rubber, and dozens of springs. Stop." And think about that. This guy sparked a massive debate over whether a dead woman was a machine or a human being. And the people who had already seen her paid a second time just to make sure. And the people who hadn't seen her paid for the first time out of pure curiosity. He sold the scandal, he sold the controversy, and he sold tickets 3 times over with the exact same product. Now, project this onto your own environment. In your weekly meeting, does your boss even know what you do? Do you know how to make your achievements visible? Or are you operating in the shadows, just waiting for someone to notice you? A person who works in the dark, no matter how brilliant they are, is like a star in broad daylight. It's there, but nobody sees it. The difference between you getting that promotion and your less competent coworker beating you to it isn't always competence. Sometimes it's simply that he is seen and you are not. Greene says everyone understands the need for love, but real power requires understanding the need for attention too. In today's world, the problem is infinitely bigger than it was in Barnum's day. Back then, you were competing with 10 people in your town. Today, you are competing with millions on one tiny screen. Everyone has a voice. Every company has an account. Every product has an ad. The noise has become cosmic. So the question is no longer, how do I be good? The question has become, how do I get heard through all this static? And right there lies the genius of Law 6. Greene isn't telling you not to be talented. He's telling you your talent alone isn't enough. It has to be paired with the ability to captivate, to create a halo of interest around yourself, to make people wonder about you, even when you aren't in the room. Some people understand this instinctively. Look at Elon Musk. Do you think all his tweets are just random nonsense? Do you think his sometimes shocking statements are uncalculated? The man moves financial markets with a single sentence on Twitter. He sparks a debate about Dogecoin at 2 a.m. He posts a cryptic meme and it turns into headline news on 30 different websites. That's not chaos. That is Law 6. Applied in the digital age with a mastery that would make P.T. Barnum smile in his grave. Attention is a commodity. And just like in any market, limited supply drives up the price. The person who talks about everything all the time to everyone just becomes white noise. Your ears learn to tune him out. But the person who picks his moments, who stays silent when everyone else is shouting and speaks up when nobody expects it, that person creates a vacuum and then fills it. And a vacuum is the most powerful tool for drawing the eye. Think about Steve Jobs again. Why did his famous phrase, "one more thing," completely freeze the audience? Because he built an expectation and then he broke it. He built a sequence of promises and then tacked on a surprise. Human beings latch onto suspense, they crave what is hidden, and they remember what shocks them. But there is a fatal trapdoor built right into this law. And if you step on it blindly, you don't just lose the spotlight, you become the court jester. You see, getting attention is just the ignition. Keeping it, that requires you to become something else entirely. You have to flow like a river. Let me explain what that means. The human brain, your boss's brain, your client's brain has a built-in biological survival mechanism. It's a spam filter. In psychology, it's called habituation. If a sound plays continuously, like the hum of an air conditioner, your brain eventually mutes it to save energy. If you walk into a room with a strong smell, 10 minutes later, you don't smell it anymore. The exact same thing happens with your behavior. If you are always the loudest guy in the room, and people stop hearing you, if you are constantly pulling stunts to be seen, you become a routine. And the second you become a routine, you become invisible again. You become the hum of the air conditioner. This is where Robert Greene introduces the second half of Law 6, which is the ultimate masterstroke. Create an air of mystery. Do not show all your cards. Ever. We live in a culture that worships oversharing. Just open LinkedIn. It is flooded with people posting their morning routines, their minor failures, their emotional epiphanies at the coffee shop. Everyone is an open book. But here's the brutal psychological truth. Open books are boring. Once I've read you, I put you back on the shelf. I don't need to think about you anymore because I've already figured you out. Mystery, on the other hand, is an unfinished puzzle, and the human ego hates unfinished puzzles. It will obsess over them. It will stay awake at night trying to put the pieces together. Think about Banksy. In an era where every creator is desperate for a viral TikTok, the most famous street artist in the world has no face. What if Banksy suddenly revealed his identity tomorrow? What if he did a press tour and sat on a daytime talk show? The magic would evaporate instantly. The art wouldn't change, but the attention would die. Because the mystery is the actual masterpiece. Now, let's pull this out of the art world and drop it right into the middle of your corporate reality. Imagine a scenario. A high-stakes project is failing. Everyone in the boardroom is panicking, throwing out wild ideas, talking over each other. You sit back. You observe. You don't rush to fill the silence. When the panic peaks, you finally lean forward, offer one highly calculated, unconventional solution, and then you stop talking. You don't over-explain. You don't beg them to agree. You just let the idea hang in the heavy air. In that boardroom, you are the predator, and their anxiety is the prey. What happens in your manager's mind at that exact moment? His ego naturally wants to categorize everyone so he can feel in control. He knows the yes man. He knows the complainer. But you just broke the pattern. You didn't give him enough data to put you in a neat little box. He has to think about you after the meeting. He has to wonder, what else does he know that he's not saying? That wonder is power. What if you did the exact opposite? What if you jumped up, aggressively pitched your idea, sent 3 desperate follow-up emails, and laid out all your logic? You've given away your power. You are eager. You are completely transparent. There is no river. There is just a shallow puddle. To flow like a river means you are never completely grasped. You adapt. Sometimes you are the calm, reassuring presence. Other times, you deliver a shock to the system. You never let them perfectly predict your next move. Let's look at this through the lens of cognitive biases. When you create an aura of unpredictability, you trigger the confirmation bias of the people around you, but in a way that works entirely for you. Because they can't figure you out, they start projecting their own narratives onto your silence. They assume you are deeper, smarter, and more strategic than you might actually be. Your silence acts as a blank canvas, and people will paint their own fears and respect right onto it. But let's be very clear about the danger here. There is a razor-thin line between being mysterious and being confusing. If you are just vague and incompetent, people won't think you're mysterious. They'll just think you're useless. The absolute foundation of this law is that your competence must be rock solid. You have to actually be exceptional at what you do. The mystery isn't a cover-up for a lack of skill. It's a spotlight that makes your skill look like magic. Remember Pablo Picasso? He wouldn't explain his paintings. When critics asked him what a specific cubist piece meant, he would often give cryptic, contradictory answers. He let the critics fight it out. He let them write 1,000-page essays trying to decode his mind. He manufactured the vacuum, and the world exhausted itself trying to fill it. So, your assignment for tomorrow isn't to walk into work wearing a mask. Your assignment is to practice the art of strategic withholding. When someone asks you a question, pause for 3 seconds before you answer. Watch how uncomfortable they get in those 3 seconds. Watch how their respect for your eventual answer multiplies. Stop narrating every step of your process to your colleagues. Let the final result appear as if out of nowhere. Don't let them see the sweat. Don't let them see the machinery. Be the river. Let them see the surface, let them feel the current, but never, ever let them touch the bottom. There is a final, darker dimension to Law 6. A dimension that makes most people deeply uncomfortable. We are raised with a very specific, sanitized idea of reputation. We are taught from childhood, keep your nose clean, don't make a scene, guard your good name. We genuinely believe that a bad reputation is the ultimate career ender. We think that if people are criticizing us, we are losing. But Robert Greene, with his surgical cruelty, flips the script entirely. He looks at the brutal reality of history and whispers a different truth. Slander is better than silence. Let me break down the psychology of why this is devastatingly true. If you want to flow like a river, you have to understand that a river doesn't care if you praise its serene beauty or curse its destructive floods. The only thing the river demands is that you look at it. It demands your attention. In the human brain, there is a cognitive glitch known as the negativity bias. Daniel Kahneman and other behavioral psychologists have proven that our minds are literally hardwired to pay more attention to threats, scandals, and negative news than to positive information. It's a survival mechanism. You might ignore a beautiful sunset, but you will never ignore a burning building. The masters of power know this. They know that society is full of people who are desperate to look at the burning building. Think about Pietro Aretino in 16th century Rome. He wasn't a prince. He didn't have an army. He was a writer. But he realized that writing nice, polite poetry got him nowhere. So he started writing vicious, scandalous satires about the most powerful politicians and popes. He attacked everyone. He became the most hated, controversial man in Italy. And what happened? Did he get canceled? Did he disappear? Quite the opposite. His infamy made him a giant. Princes and kings started paying him fortunes, either to attack their enemies or simply to buy his silence. He realized that the hatred of the public was just as valuable as their love, as long as it kept his name in their mouths. He didn't just survive the scandal, he weaponized it. Now, let's pull this out of the Renaissance and drop it into the modern digital arena. The exact same psychological laws apply today, only they are amplified by algorithms. Every single day, you see people panicking over a bad review, a critical comment, or a rival attacking their work. When someone attacks you, what is the natural instinct? The prey instinct? The prey immediately gets defensive. The prey writes a long, emotional apology. The prey tries to hide. But how does the predator think? The predator understands the math of attention. If your rival in the company spends 10 minutes in the cafeteria criticizing your new project, what is he actually doing? He is spending his own social capital to broadcast your name. He is marketing you for free. Imagine you are in that same boardroom we talked about earlier. You pitched your mysterious, unconventional idea. Suddenly, a rival manager leans across the table and starts aggressively tearing your idea apart. He raises his voice, he calls your strategy risky, even foolish. Most people would panic, but you sit back, you let him talk, you let him turn the temperature of the room up. Why? Because right now, every single eyeball in that boardroom is bouncing between him and you. The drama is building. The tension is thick. If you interrupt him and defensively beg for approval, you lose. You become weak. But what if you do the exact opposite? What if you let him finish his emotional rant, let the silence hang for 3 unbearable seconds, and then you just smile slightly and say, I understand why you're terrified of this approach. It requires a level of execution we haven't seen here before. Boom. You didn't defend the technicalities of the project. You attacked his ego. You framed his criticism as fear. And more importantly, you just turned his negative attack into a spotlight that makes you look like the only fearless person in the room. You use his energy to fuel your own visibility. Society tells us that to be loved is the ultimate goal. But in the ruthless mechanics of power, being talked about is the only metric that matters. Love is subjective. Hate is subjective. But attention is absolute. This brings us to the ultimate synthesis of Law 6. To court attention at all costs and to flow like a river. The saying, you must master the delicate dance between the spectacle and the mystery. You start with the spectacle. You do something bold. You break the mold. You deliver a project that is so radically different, or you make a statement so undeniably sharp that people have no choice but to stop scrolling, stop talking, and look at you. You shine the light directly into their eyes. But the second you have their attention, you pull back. You do not stay in the light until you burn out. You retreat into the shadows. You let the mystery take over. You let them wonder what you are going to do next. You let the rumors circulate. You let your critics argue with your supporters. You become the eye of the hurricane, completely calm and silent, while everyone else swirls in chaos around you. When you master this, you stop being a participant in the game. You become the environment itself. You are no longer fighting for a seat at the table. You are the reason the table exists. Because at the end of the day, the world belongs to those who are seen. The brilliant, invisible worker will always be ruled by the visible, average showman. Do not let your competence die in the dark. Step into the light. Command the narrative. Be the mystery they cannot solve. And whatever you do, no matter what it costs, never, ever let them ignore you.